There's a lot just in this first shot that needs to be established. I need everyone to like this video simply because this is a unicorn. How often do you see my natural hair? Not very often, let alone somewhat put together. Also, shirt. This isn't merch. It might be a precursor to merch though. What do you think? I don't know. I thought it was cute. Someone sent it to me. Oh, anyway, hi. It's Kendall here. I'm very caffeinated. I'm sorry. It's Kendall here. If you're new around here, welcome. If you're not new around here, what is up? Home. Skillet biscuit. My hair is very distracting to me, so I'm gonna put it up for the time being. Yep, because that was a better decision. I just keep it down. Anyway, it's Saturday. Oh my god, I look like Medusa. Oh, but I kind of love it. It's Saturday. If you don't know what Saturday is, Saturday on my channel is a time, what? It is a time. Saturdays on my channel, I do a little something called Bad Movies in a Beat, the series on my channel where I talk about bad movies while putting my makeup on. Last week, we touched on the problem that is Tyler Perry when we talked about his also poorly made A Fall from Grace. If you haven't seen that video, check that out up above, or you can check it out in the Bad Movies in a Beat playlist. Anyway, today though, we have our first ever sequel to a Bad Movies in a Beat. Usually I just do one movie, go about my way, but this is an entire series worth of trash, so I said, yeah, we're gonna do every movie at some point. On a previous episode of Bad Movies in a Beat, I talked at length about so self-deprecating love of Twilight back when I was middle school, high school, early high school. Again, if you haven't seen that, you can check that up above. It'll be up there. Today, we're actually looking at the first sequel of Twilight, the second movie in the Twilight saga, called New Moon. Again, if you haven't seen the first video where I talked about Twilight, I was a big Twilight fan when I was a child. I was a huge Twilight fan, read all the books. Definitely Teen Jacob because he sounded really tall, buff, and brown. That's all I needed to know. But despite being a huge Twilight fan, I found the first movie super boring. And now that I'm an adult, I found it exceedingly creepy. And here we are to look at New Moon, the second movie, and we're gonna see what's so awful about this one. If you're new around here, hi, I'm Kendall. I would like to call myself a recovering toxic romance enthusiast. I remember when this book came out, or like when it was just starting to get popular. I probably started reading it a little after it came out. I loved the second book because of one particularly disturbing element because I was freaking crazy and going through puberty and I was in all types of angst. Oh god, it was so unhealthy and so twisted and just so damaging. And I loved it. Now, before we get started, I would like to say, between the two movies, I would definitely say that New Moon is exponentially better in literally every way than the first movie, okay? Everyone looks like they popped a vitamin. They're a little bit more animated. We don't have that ugly turquoise filter through the entire film. I think also because we know kind of what to expect from delivery. We know what Kristen Stewart kind of does for the role. We know what what is his name? Robert Pattinson does for the role. We kind of know what to expect, right? We're gonna get some melodramatics. We're gonna get some cheesy lines. There is one element to this movie that makes it a bit more easier to stomach. But again, there is this one component that used to really tickle the pickle of 11-year-old Kendall. And I just look back at her and say, what were you going through? My hair looks good. I'm sorry. I go so bad. I'm so bipolar with my hair. I'm like, oh my god, it looks awful, but like, the volume, bitch? Yes. But yeah, like sequels often do, this movie is a continuation of the first story. Bella is still emotionless. Edward is still pale. The film begins with a dream. Bella and Edward are in a field and they see this old woman. Lo and behold, that woman is Bella, you know, after the passage of time where she's still human and he's still a vampire. So Bella's going to be an elderly woman and Edward is still going to be, sing it with me, our brooding hot 25, brooding hot 25-year-old teenager. If you recall from the first movie, the passage of time, the aging of Bella had always been her kind of point of contingency regarding why she wanted to turn into a vampire. She didn't want to live her life without Edward at some point where she gets old and wrinkly and he stays perfect and ageless forever. So when this movie begins on Bella's 18th birthday, it's kind of triggering for her. And girl, Same. I mean, just imagine if she made it to 21. Girl, it's all downhill from there. I'm just joking. Life got a lot better after 21, but birthdays did not. Anyway, it's Bella's birthday. She's in class. And for their class, they had to watch single-handedly the most overhyped, over-romanticized, incredibly shallow and ill-developed love story that is freaking Romeo and Juliet. Side note, I hate Romeo and Juliet. I remember the first time I actually read it in its entirety outside of just knowing it was this very famous love story. And when I read it, I was like, there is nothing cute or romantic about either of y'all. Y'all both dumb as a box of rocks. He fell in love with you looking at you, even though he was like in love with somebody else and he was about to die for her or whatever the hell. Because both of y'all dumb as said box of rocks. Y'all end up killing yourselves because you love or whatever. I forget the actual logistics of why they took poison, but whatever. Y'all both end up dead because you're stupid. Now, I say all that to say, I hated Romeo and Juliet, but I loved New Moon, the book in particular. I don't know if it's because it removed the core Shakespearean writing styles or whatever, so that kind of made it more digestible, I suppose. They are sitting in this classroom and Edward's like, Romeo's super stupid, but I do begrudge him the ability to kill himself, to commit suicide. And Bella's like, what? What do you mean? What are you talking about, dude? Or however she emotionlessly does that. If you would have died last time, I was gonna kill myself. Big yikes. After the events of the first movie, when he thought she might have died, he was thoroughly considering figuring out how to kill himself, because it's not as simple as just like stabbing yourself or whatever as it would be for a human. There's like a whole process. He explains that if she would have died, he would have gone to Italy and provoked this sort of vampire Vatican type thing called the Volturi. They kind of perform as like a centralized governing body, I suppose, for the vampires of the world. They issue basic rules about the existence of vampires. Don't let people know that vampires exist. As long as you do that, you don't piss off the Volturi. There you go. So that's the beginning of the movie. That's Edward saying like he loves her so much that he was willing to kill himself. This movie and so many movies like this trope is so dangerous. I get dragged back and forth because people are like, it's just movies, Kendall. Don't take it so seriously. Why are you making things so serious? Why are you turning like basic entertainment into like something dark and like it's not abuse, it's not this, it's not a toxic relationship, blah, 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 blah. It's not just simply we're watching entertainment, especially ones that are targeted towards me, like when I was like 11 years old, 8 years old. Subliminal idea of like, I can't live without you. Like, I'm sorry, I gotta do my big sis duties. I gotta stop and make y'all realize that this is not cute, okay? Like, just allow me to say this and then we'll go about our way. But there is nothing romantic about hurting yourself, killing yourself, at all. Let's start there. There's nothing romantic about being in such a place that you would want to kill yourself. There's nothing cute about that. Talked about this before. I loved stories where like the main girl died or like got really sick, and then that's when the guy realized his love for her or whatever. Beautifully tortured. A story's a story, but when you start to focus so much on that, because I did, you start to kind of idolize this idea that this is an appropriate way to gauge someone's love for you. Like, would they want to kill themselves if I died? Girl? Like, this is the extremity of a relationship. It should be this extreme, you know? Or it's also messes with your perception of how love should be actualized, how it should be performed. Like I don't think someone loves you if they could live without you. You know what I mean? You can live without people. Kind of romanticizes just really unhealthy ways to coping with relationship breakdowns. It's just what happens, you know? Let's not act like this is cute, is what I'm saying. This isn't cute that you would like to kill yourself because a relationship ended or because someone passed away. Yeah, this shouldn't be considered like baseline. This is like how relationships go, particularly teenage relationships go. They're just super over dramatic and like this is how it goes. You hurt and you pain and you do this all the time. No. Do your calculus. Stop worrying about these big head boys. Anyway, sorry, I could literally talk about that forever because it just, I don't know. Something about that just triggered the crap out of me. I'm like, ugh, ah. So Bella is having a birthday party or like a little birthday get together over at Edward's house. And while she's there, she's opening presents as you do. And while opening one of the presents, she ends up cutting her finger accidentally, and this sends the youngest vampire, Jasper. He comes at her like trying to kill her because he's not as used to holding back his thirst for blood. Everyone else has had a lot more time to get better at it, so he just kind of loses it for a split second. Bella goes flying. I'm sorry. And by the end of it, Bella's beaten up pretty badly, you know? But at the end of it, she's like, man, I really wish y'all would turn me into a vampire so that we wouldn't even have problems like this, you know? Edward doesn't want to do that because he feels like turning into a vampire results in the damnation of your soul. So he doesn't want to end her life in that way. This is just me nitpicking, but this is funny. There's a scene where it's like the end of the night. Edward is like all in his head because of what just happened. It really freaked him out. And they end with a kiss and she's like, kiss me. And there's something so creepy about her face. She's like, kiss me.
Can I ask one thing? Kiss me.
I don't think I want to now, girl. You just freaking weirdo. But the kiss is very intense. I've said this before. I will applaud them that they did get they got the intensity correct with Twilight. You know something about to go down because they started playing Rosalind. Again, these movies had bomb ass soundtracks. Don't let it fool you. Fool you where? Down. Here comes the moment. The culmination where Edward breaks up with Bella. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God, we aren't a part of the same world. We're gonna leave. This is over, right? This isn't funny, but it kind of made me laugh because while partying, he says something along the lines of like, don't do anything stupid for Charlie's sake, her dad. I wish a dude would break up with me and be like, now, I know this will devastate you, so don't kill yourself. Think of your parents. Completely unprovoked, because it's not like, I mean, outside of her just doing stupid stuff the entire series, it seems like she wants to die, but there's nothing like, I would like to kill myself, you know, from Bella. So he came out of nowhere. This will hurt you. I know it will. Don't kill yourself. Think of your family. Like, what would he have done if she took it like too well? Anyway, he says they'll never see each other again. This is over. The whole family is gonna leave Forks. And she was hurt. She was distraught. She was crawling. She was crying in the woods in the fetal position on the floor. Ew. She ends up catatonic for a few months, just staring at the window as time passes by. She ends up having these like torturous nightmares. Again, I've never been in love, so maybe this is just me missing something, so excuse me of my ignorance, but like I feel like that's the response you have if you see like your whole family got murdered in front of you, and like I don't know, it just seems like there needs to be more going on than just like outside of him being a vampire, a very normal breakup. I feel bad for her. I don't know what advice to give other than don't love these niggas. Don't give them your heart, sis. More good music. And she attacked me like a Leo. After months and months of being in a depressive state, her dad encourages her to finally go see her friends. She meets up with that annoying chick Jessica or whatever her name is, and while out they end up seeing some bikers on the side of the street that are kind of like catcalling them. Then she sees them and really locks eyes with them. For some reason she gets a hallucination of Edward there telling her to not talk to these dudes. They're dangerous, right? Now, because Bella is undoubtedly in a very unhealthy mental space, if I put myself in dangerous situations, I can bring visions of him back. Yep, this is the hill I'm willing to die on. The way this particular idea was handled makes it seem like this is cute. She wants to see him, so she's gonna put herself in all these dangerous situations because that's how you know she loves him and that he's always with her. But if this was happening in real life, baby, you really need to see a therapist. This is not healthy. One, doing dangerous things in general is an issue, but then also the reason you're doing them is to bring back hallucinations of your ex. Anyway, she ends up getting on the bikes, and luckily the dude was not a rapist or a killer. Bella's always full of good luck, honestly. In fairness, all the things that Bella's does, I'm really surprised she has not died yet. But after that bike ride, she realizes, maybe if I like ride bikes for some reason, that brings Edward back. So she finds some old bikes at a scrap metal shop, and she goes to visit Wiggalicious Jacob. Oh, you can see the spirit gum just hanging on for dear life. Jacob is a pretty good mechanic, so she goes to him and she's like, hey, can you fix these bikes up for me? And he's like, sure, sounds like a plan. They start working together, spending more time together. Over time, Bella starts to notice that she feels better around Jake. And damn it, I see why. So the bikes are done, right? The bikes are finally done. And Bella gets on the bike. And of course, immediately she sees a vision of Edward that's going like, hey, don't. She does not listen. She gets on the bike. She ends up crashing the bike and getting a nice little bump on her head, which results in a semi-gratuitous shirt removal. There's a lot of mush about Jacob liking her, and Bella's over here like, I don't want to hurt you because I'm still in love with my undead lover, like, and I want you to continue to pursue me just so that you don't go anywhere because I really need you in my life right now. But just when you thought Jacob is like the good guy, you come to realize that he has some pretty palpable anger issues. Come to find out, his hot temper and outbursts are as a result of him turning into a werewolf. I just got glitter right in my eye. But yes, it's due to him turning into a werewolf. There's some arguing in the rain that I don't really hear. Something about the Cullens being vampires. I honestly didn't remember why I was really into Taylor Lautner, because I've said this before, like I was really into him and then it just fizzled. But I didn't remember why. I remember now. I'm getting off topic. So Bella meets the black vampire from the first movie. I don't remember what his name is. He tells her that the redhead Victoria is out and about and that she's looking for Bella. She wants to kill her to avenge the vampire from the first movie, James, that they ended up killing. Now the black vampire was gonna kill her, but he ends up being ripped to shreds by a pack of werewolves. And if I had to make any like technical complaints about anything, it would be the werewolves. Those are some ugly werewolves. And this was also in like 2009. They had the technology. Bella recalls that Jacob is the descendant of wolves. She ends up confronting some of the wolves. I don't really have to explain why, but she has kind of a reason to confront them. Then she sees them actually turn into a wolf right in front of her and yells something about the wacky waving inflatable arm flailing two-man type mechanics. Check me out. But anyway, there's a fight between Jacob and one of the other wolves. Jake is a werewolf and they're on the prowl to track Victoria. That is their thing. Werewolves track down vampires. Meanwhile, Bella is still having moments of depression in which she is encouraged to do some pretty stupid, dangerous things in an effort to, again, bring back the likeness of Edward. It results in her taking an adrenaline junkie dive off of a cliff during an incoming storm. And I thought this scene was so good in the book. I remember it. I remember being like, oh my God. And she's, and I mean, I guess it's partially because you know she's not gonna die. Like, you know she's gonna be safe. Yeah, as a kid, I found this so fascinating. This idea of like, the only way I know you love me is if like I can break you into pieces with my death. What is that? I should have maybe talked to somebody. I grew out of it, thank God. But like, holy Christ, man. Luckily, Jake, of course, is there someone's there to save her at the perfect time. He's there to pull her out of the water. Now, continuing on with Bella's persistent semi-suicidal tendencies, on the drive back after Jake saves her, he kind of warns her about the implications of being with a werewolf. And that is, werewolves aren't very good at holding their temper. And if he gets mad at her one time, he could hurt her or kill her. And of course, because Bella, she's like, I don't care, you're not gonna hurt me. I just kind of want somebody to hurt her one time so that she gets it. Because I feel like, because this is a movie, you think, oh, I just trust in you implicitly to not hurt me. Anyway, they drive back to Bella's home where she sees Alice. Alice, of course, is one of the Cullens. And she has the ability to see visions. So she saw a vision of Bella jumping off of a cliff. And so she thought that Bella killed herself. Apparently, the reason why Alice didn't see Bella getting pulled out of the water is because she was with Jake. Something about Jake, and the werewolves in particular, blocks her visions from working. So anything in relation to the werewolves, Alice can't see. There is some arguing between Jake and the Cullen, which results in this gem of a line.
Don't get me upset.
Hey, stop.
Things are gonna get very ugly.
Stop.
Anyway, Jacob is about to kiss Bella, and I was just like, do it. He's so much cuter. Do it. They don't kiss because the phone rings, and it's Edward calling to talk to Charlie. In a good old 1990s sitcom mix-up, Jake says something along the lines of like he's arranging a funeral, but it's not because Bella died. It's because like this kind of unimportant character died somewhere within the movie. Good old mix-up fashion. Edward thinks that Bella is dead. And if the beginning of the movie was at all a foreshadowing, now he's gonna go to Italy and kill himself. So now Bella and Alice are on a race against time to stop him before he's seen by the public. There's a super dramatic revealing of the shining, super pale, glimmering body. Bella gets there at the last moment to stop him from revealing himself to the world. They end up meeting the Volturi, which is this dude that talks like Willy Wonka.
Bella is alive after all.
This other guy, and the dude from Sweeney Todd. Yeah, Joanna, that's him. Best musical in the world, don't at me, at God. Along the way, they realize that none of the powers that they have work on Bella for some reason, which is exceedingly fascinating to them. There's a tussle in which Edward gets his ass handed to him on a plate with a garnish. Alice ends up telling them like, hey, Bella is gonna be a vampire. There's nothing to worry about. Yes, she's a human that knows about us, but she's gonna be a vampire in the future, and she's not gonna tell anybody. So just believe us and leave us alone. Don't kill us, because she will be a vampire at some point. Just kind of on good faith say, hey, be sure to turn her into a vampire so we don't have to have this here problem again, because we'll come looking for you. They're allowed to leave. That's it. Bella and Edward are back together again, naturally. And Edward is kind of like, I can figure out a way to not have to turn you into a vampire. We can figure it out. We can keep them guessing. She's like, no, I want to be a vampire, damn it. Bella's like, hey, I'll do it after graduation to make it easier on my dad. If that's, I don't know when it's ever easier on your dad to tell him, yeah, I'm becoming a vampire, but then at the very end, Edward's like, okay, like, fine. You want to be a vampire? Marry me. Bella gasps without opening her mouth. And that's the cliffhanger. That's the end of the movie. My eyebrows. I'm getting a unibrow. Yo, I call myself a beauty guru. I've said this before several times in this series, but there's a lot of reasons why a movie is bad. It's not necessarily because of poor production quality, storyline per se. And I feel like this movie in particular has a lot of issues in relation to the morally questionable elements than anything else. Between the two movies, I would certainly say I enjoyed this one a lot more. I think maybe what I don't enjoy was more of like a personally triggering part where I'm just like, I remember I was into that. I was really into that. And maybe that's why I felt the need to do this movie. Because honestly, it is bad. If it didn't have that particular element, it wasn't, I don't think, bad enough to constitute a whole bad movies in a beat. Just doing my job, trying to disenfranchise super romanticized toxic relationships a little bit, day by day. I'm ashy. Have I been ashy this entire video? I'm sure. If you like this video, be sure to like this video. Follow me on all my social media, Instagram, Twitter, both of which are KennieJD. If you have any other recommendations for bad movies in a beat, be sure to put those down below, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!